Hello, happy Friday. It is finally Friday. Like, I love it. So, Moesha is on Tubi, and I think I spoke about Tubi before, but I wanted to ask a different question to my ladies because even though Dee wasn't the best stepmom, she was the best wife. Like, she was very loyal to Frank. And I just wanted to ask my subscribers, just curious, like, what would you do if you were Dee? So, Dee Mitchell and Moesha, she has went through a lot with Frank. Frank is very corny, in my opinion. He's what I call very stiff. So, he had a lot of baggage, you know. He lied to her about who his son was, and for me, I wouldn't be able to forgive that. So Dorian, which we thought was Moesha's cousin, is actually his brother, and everybody could agree, like, once D-Money or Dorian came on the show, that's when it went downhill. And it probably wasn't even his fault. It was the writers, obviously. But you know, it went from bad to worse. Like, we had enough drama with Moesha skipping school with Q and her doing typical teenage things. One thing I loved about her is she's, you know, kept herself until college, just like I did. I kept myself until a week after prom. So, but yeah, like, she had good grades. She was good, you know. For somebody who had their mom pass away, even though it's just a TV show, she was a well-rounded kid. Minus going to Tijuana, she was a pretty good kid. She did get a tattoo that she wasn't supposed to get and showed it off to her father. That was bold. My first tattoo I got at 22, and my father didn't know. He still don't know about that tattoo. But he saw a tattoo I got on my arm in like 2018, and he's like, why you got a tattoo? He didn't know I've been had a tattoo. At that time, I was 27 when he seen the tattoo on my arm. And that was like a new tattoo that I got or whatever back then in 17, 18. But I was in my late 20s, and I had moved out by 22. And when I got my first tattoo, it was 6 months before I moved out. But he never found out about that's on my stomach. But she actually, like, showed it to her father. And it's like, come on now, you pushing it. First you get it, but then you gonna show it off. I'm 36 years old. If my father happened to see it, fine, but I'm not gonna show it off, because it's like you rubbing it in there. You being disrespectful at that point. But yeah, so he never, mind you, he would treat Dorian bad. That's what makes the whole storyline crazy, because from season 2, he was talking about Dorian like he was talked about. So it was like she knew about the nephew, and she's like, oh, his father not in his life. Meanwhile, he's his father, and he's telling her this, like, oh, I'm trying to be there for the boy, I'm his uncle. And it's like, you're lying to her this whole time, knowing that you're his father. And that's what makes it crazy. Like, you stood there and you lied in my face year after year after year. The boy comes into the home, and the way I find out is your aunt spills the beans. And she says this, she's like, oh, yes, I'm so happy that you brought your son home. And she's like, son? And so at that point, he didn't deny it. But I wanted to ask you ladies, if you found out that your husband, boyfriend, or whatever, you've been with him for years, keep that in mind, and he lied to you about his nephew being his son, would you stay with him? For me, no. I would serve him his walking papers, because you stood in my face and you lied for years, year after year after year after year, just saying that this is your nephew when it's really your son, and you've been a deadbeat. I can't respect that. Like, I don't. And I remember telling a guy that, more than one guy, that I said, how can I be with you? Because I find out shit early. I always ask questions. I'm like, how can I be with you? And that's what I'm dealing with. You know what I'm saying? And as a single parent, and the father is not really around as he should, how do I look being with a deadbeat, you know? And for a woman like Dee, she doesn't have kids, but if you had your father in your life, you know the importance of a father. So for him to pretty much be a deadbeat, and you was in his life, but you never embraced him as a son, you always called him bad. Oh, he won't behave, he would. Common sense, because you're not in his life. Different children, now you do have children that are good kids and their father not around, you know, but with Dorian, all he needed was love. And Frank was half-assing it. You know, it's terrible. But I wanted to ask my ladies, if you were Dee, what would you do?